They studied human pain tolerance to break us, to prove that Earth's toughest species was just a myth. They strapped him down, needles, lasers, brain burns, everything. But the man smiled and said, "Is that all you've got, sweetheart?" They tested his nerves, his mind, his limits. But something strange happened. The more they heard him, the more she stared at him. The alien doctor. The one who was supposed to break him. She didn't record his pain. She memorized his abs. And when the final test began, he said just 5 words. "Now it's my turn, Doc." And that's when everything went wrong. Very, very wrong. Welcome to Predator Protocol, where we turn raw sci-fi power into human legend. I'm Jax, your story narrator, the voice behind humanity's finest moments and their deadliest mistakes. Strap in, boys, because this one, it's not just hot, it's unbreakable. Let's begin the story. The alien ship smelled like cold metal and chemicals. The lights were low, blue, eerie. Commander Ryan Wolfe sat in the middle of the lab, his hands cuffed to the sides of a glowing examination chair, bare chest rising and falling, slowly, calm. 3 alien doctors stood behind a glass screen, watching, whispering, recording. One of them, taller, curvier, with smooth silver skin, stared too long. Dr. Shaksa. Lead neuroscientist of the Zernak Empire. Cold, smart, dangerous, and too damn pretty for her own good. She tapped the glass. "He's ready." The chamber hissed as it sealed shut. Gas released. Needles came down. The first test would begin. Ryan tilted his head. "No drinks first?" He grinned. "Bit rude, Doc." Shaksa ignored the sarcasm. She pressed a button. The needle plunged into the nerve cluster behind his collarbone. Pain level, lethal for most species. Ryan didn't even blink. He looked around, bored. "You guys always start this slow." Shaksa frowned. "Is he smiling?" Her assistant gulped. "Yes, doctor." Shaksa leaned forward, her voice low and sharp. "Add thermal stim, burn level 5. The metal arm heated up, turned red, pressed against his spine. Ryan tensed for half a second, then laughed. "Feels like a warm towel after a cold shower. Try harder." The assistant whispered, "He should be screaming." Shaksa narrowed her eyes. "Humans are not immune to pain. This one is faking." Ryan looked straight into the observation glass, locked eyes with Shaksa. "Faking? Sweetheart, I've had worse from my ex with a butter knife." The team didn't know whether to feel threatened or turned on. Test 2 began. High-pitched sonic pulses aimed directly at his eardrums, designed to melt the brain slowly. Ryan tilted his head again. "You know, back on Earth, we call this music." He hummed along with the frequency. The assistant flinched. "Doctor, it's not working." Shaksa's cheeks flushed a soft glow. Not fear. Something else. She walked into the chamber herself, close now. Her suit clung tight, every curve highlighted. "Your species plays games," she said. Ryan smirked. "Only the fun ones." She leaned in, whispered near his ear. "Why aren't you reacting?" His lips brushed the air between them. "Because your touch isn't nearly hot enough." For a moment, the sensors on Shaksa's own suit spiked. Heart rate, temperature, breath. Ryan saw it. "Doctor, are you blushing?" She straightened. "Next phase, neural needles. Pain index, critical." 2 more needles entered behind his eyes, deep into his brain, meant to break even the strongest. Ryan's fingers twitched. His eyes watered. Shaksa watched, waiting, hoping. But then, he laughed again. "That's it? You poke a guy in the head and expect him to beg?" He looked her up and down. Darling, I haven't even started begging yet. T. The assistant dropped the scanner. He's impossible. Shaxa stared at the readings. His adrenaline levels are normal. She whispered, almost to herself. Is he even human? Ryan leaned forward against the cuffs, muscles flexed, voice low. I'm not like the others you've poked and prodded, but if you keep staring at my chest like that, I might start charging you. Her lips parted slightly. Enough, she whispered. Enough? He asked. Already? She turned and left the chamber. The door hissed shut behind her. Her assistant caught up. Doctor, what now? Shaxa didn't answer. She just touched her lips and whispered again. He didn't flinch. Inside the lab, Ryan leaned back. Alone, but not really. He looked straight up at the hidden camera above, the one in the ceiling corner, the one they didn't think he noticed. And he winked. The room stayed quiet. Too quiet. Commander Ryan Wolfe still sat strapped to the chair. Sweat ran down his temple, but his face stayed calm, unshaken. Behind the observation glass, Dr. Shaxa stood still, silent. Her eyes fixed on the screen, watching him, breathing him in like he was a new drug. Her assistant, Varn, whispered, He's not breaking. We've used every standard protocol. Shaxa didn't blink. That's the problem. He's not standard. She turned to the console. Engage Phase 3. But doctor, she snapped, do it. Back inside the chamber, the floor shifted. A second chair rose from beneath the ground. Empty, waiting. The walls changed color, from blue to red. Warning mode. Something new was coming, something Ryan hadn't seen before. Yet he grinned. New toy? Hope it's got better manners than the last one. The door slid open, and in walked her. Not Shaxa. Another alien. Same species, but younger, taller, skin glowing like polished emerald, eyes like burning moons. She sat across from him, legs crossed, slowly, deliberately. Her name tag glowed in alien script. Translation: Agent Virel, Pleasure Induction Specialist. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Pleasure induction, huh? Now you are speaking my language. She didn't smile, just stared. Your pain resistance is confusing our data. Ryan shrugged. Maybe your data's afraid of a real man. Virel leaned closer. Her voice, soft but electric. Let's try a different angle. Pleasure overload. Suddenly, lights dimmed. Waves of neural pulses flooded the room. Invisible, but heavy. They hit Ryan's brain like waves, not of pain, but of pure teasing stimulation. His breath hitched, muscles tensed, heart rate climbed, slowly. He chuckled. So, this is how aliens flirt? Virel stood up, walked behind him. Slow hands, almost touching, but not quite. The kind of not touch that drives men insane. You will tell us when it's too much, she whispered, her voice right at his neck. Ryan closed his eyes for a second, then grinned again. I'll tell you when you beg me to stop. Sensors beeped, his vitals, still stable. Shaxa watched from behind the glass, her jaw tight, her fists clenched. Was she jealous? The assistant whispered nervously. Doctor, it's not working. He's enjoying it. Shaxa hissed. This wasn't supposed to be pleasure. It was supposed to break him. Inside the room, Ryan turned to look at the new alien. You know, back on Earth we call this first date vibes. Virel looked confused. Date? He nodded. You tease. You touch. Then you see who folds first. She leaned closer. Then fold, human. He laughed again. Ladies first. The room pulsed, every wave stronger than the last. But Ryan, still calm, still smirking. Back at the console, the system beeped a new alert. Unexpected side effect detected. Pleasure, feedback loop active. Subject's control, unknown. Shaxa's eyes widened. Shut it down. Too late, Varn whispered. He's inside the loop now. Inside the room, Ryan's restraints clicked. One by one. Unlocking. He stood up, stretched, looked around. Slowly. Gee, someone forgot to lock the cage, he said. Varel took a step back, her eyes wide. Ryan looked at her. I don't bite, unless asked nicely. The lights flickered. Shaxa's voice came through the speaker, shaking. Wolfe, you are not authorized to move. He looked directly into the nearest camera. Oh, sweetheart, he grinned. I've never needed permission. And then, he pressed a glowing button on Varel's collar. Something beeped. Something unlocked. Her body shivered, but not from pain, from something else. The glowing button on Varel's collar beeped twice, and then clicked. Her pupils widened, breathing deeper now. Sensors on her bodysuit blinked wildly, red, yellow, then pink. Even Ryan raised an eyebrow. What did I just unlock? Varel swallowed hard. You activated the pleasure feedback override. He stepped forward, close enough to make her step back, close enough that the heat of his skin made her catch her breath. Override, huh? Ryan tilted his head. Sounds like I'm in charge now. Behind the glass, alarms lit up. Shaxa slammed her fist on the panel. He hacked her suit! Get security! But it was too late. The doors to the lab sealed from the inside. Ryan turned his head slowly, looked straight into the nearest surveillance lens, and grinned. Don't worry, Doctor. I'll keep your toy safe. Varel stood frozen. Not with fear, but confusion. Excitement? Maybe both. You shouldn't be able to do that, she whispered. Ryan stepped even closer, their faces inches apart. I shouldn't feel this good under torture either, but here we are. She stumbled back, trying to regain control, but the override pulsed through her body, weakening her knees. Her breathing, faster. Ryan caught her arm before she tripped. Strong grip, gentle pull. You okay? He asked. I'm not designed for this, she stammered. Neither am I, he said softly. But I am designed to win. She looked at him, eyes wide. Who are you? He smiled. The last mistake your species will ever make. Suddenly, the intercom buzzed. Commander Wolfe, stand down. You are now considered a galactic threat. Ryan laughed. I feel special. Surrender now or we'll vent the chamber. Ryan turned to Varel. Tell me, gorgeous, do you breathe vacuum? She shook her head. Then let's not stick around. He grabbed her hand, pressed a hidden switch on his belt. A crackling energy pulse exploded from his body, disabling all electronics in a 10-foot radius. The door behind him sparked, then hissed open. Shaxa screamed from the other side. Stop him! Guards rushed in, too slow, too confused. Ryan pulled Varel behind him. No weapon, just his fists, and that damn smile. One guard swung. Ryan caught the arm midair, twisted, and snapped it. Next, another guard shot a stun blast. Ryan took it to the chest. Didn't fall, didn't flinch. He turned to Varel. You see that? Felt like a tickle. You want to try? She blinked, then smirked. Maybe later. They ran down the corridor together, alarms screaming, emergency lights flashing red. Behind them, Shaxa watched the camera feed, eyes burning, jealousy, rage, and something else. She whispered, He wasn't our subject, he was our test. Her assistant asked, What do we do now, Doctor? She turned slowly. Now, we chase him. Inside the hallway, Ryan and Varel slid around a corner, stopped. A locked bay door stood in front of them. A new challenge. Ryan cracked his knuckles. What's behind this door? Varel answered. Escape pods, but they're triple locked. Only a senior level override can open them. He leaned in, close to her ear. Low voice, dangerous smirk. Then it's time you earned a promotion. Viral stared at the locked bay door, her pulse racing, not from fear, but from whatever Ryan had awakened. He stood behind her, close, body heat pressing against her back, voice low and teasing. "So, Doc, you gonna open this door, or do I need to press another button on that pretty little collar?" Varel bit her lip. Her suit sensors were still pinging out of control. She leaned forward and placed her palm on the scanner. "Senior override, Varel 9 Zeta." The screen blinked. "Command not authorized. Identity conflict detected." Ryan chuckled. "Ouch. Even your ship doesn't trust you anymore." She turned to him. "That override was disabled when I entered your chamber. Standard protocol." He raised an eyebrow. "Because you expected me to break?" She nodded slowly. "We never thought you'd make it this far." Ryan leaned in, brushing his lips just close enough to feel the charge. "No one ever does. Now, give me access, sweetheart, or we'll have to get creative." Her cheeks flushed, a deep, glowing teal. "Fine," she whispered, but her voice was shaking, not from fear. She slid her fingers under the seam of her bodysuit, revealing a hidden implant just above her hip. Ryan's eyes followed, slowly. "Well now, that's a sexy override key." She pressed the implant against the panel. Door unlocked, a soft hiss, then silence. Inside, 3 escape pods and an emergency weapons crate. Ryan stepped in first, scanned the room. No guards yet. Varel followed, staying close. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. He turned. "That's cute. You think I'm escaping?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" He stepped to the weapons locker, popped it open, pulled out a glowing pulse rifle, spun it once, then slung it over his shoulder like it was nothing. "I'm not leaving yet. I just wanted my gear back." Varel looked confused. "But you said we were getting out." He smiled. "I said I'd open the door, didn't say where we were going." From his belt, he pulled a tiny black disc, pressed a button. A hologram flared in the center of the room, Earth's military symbol. UN Spec Ops, Black Class. Varel took a step back. "You're with Earth's Shadow Unit?" Ryan just winked. "Still think I was your test subject?" She didn't answer. She was too busy imagining how many rules she'd already broken. Ryan walked closer, set the disc on the control panel. 3 minutes until override signal disables all power in this section. We walk out or fly through fire. Suddenly, a loud hiss. The hallway doors burst open. Security droids rushed in, 10 of them, armed. "Ready," Varel gasped. "We're cornered!" Ryan didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't even lift the rifle. He just leaned over to Varel and whispered, "Tell me, Doc, you ever seen what happens when pain tolerance becomes weaponized?" And then, he reached into the crate again, pulled out something, glowing, pulsing. Not a weapon. Something worse. Something classified. Varel's eyes widened. "You're not really escaping, are you?" Ryan grinned. "Oh no, sweetheart. I'm just getting started." The weapon Ryan pulled from the crate wasn't alien. It was human-made. Black metal, pulse core glowing deep red, not built to stun, built to end things. Varel stepped back, her voice trembling. "That's not just a weapon, that's a command override emitter. We banned those cycles ago." Ryan checked the energy cell. Full. Of course it was. "Yeah," he said calmly. "Which is why Earth sent me with one." The droids aimed. Lasers locked. Red dots danced across Ryan's chest. He didn't move, didn't even breathe fast. "You've got 10 seconds to leave," he said. The droids didn't respond. They were machines, programmed to fight. Ryan raised the emitter and pressed the trigger. It didn't fire a beam. It released a pulse, a deep, vibrating hum that shook the floor. The droids twitched, sparks shot from their joints. One by one, they collapsed. Dead systems. Fried. The room fell silent again. Except for Varel's breathing, now heavier, faster. "You killed them," she whispered. Ryan turned. "I freed them." He stepped closer. Slow. Confident. Dangerous. Varel didn't back away this time. "You scare me," she said softly. He leaned in. Good. His hand brushed the side of her neck, where her pulse was racing. "But you like it." She didn't say no. Behind them, the override timer ticked down. Minutes left. Ryan loaded a second emitter into his belt, then looked at Varel. "You're either with me or you'll have to stop me." Her lips parted. "You want me to switch sides?" He smiled. "Only if you like being on top." She choked on her breath. "You're impossible." "Impossibly fun," he corrected. Before she could answer, a deep alarm rang through the walls, a different tone. One Varel had only heard once before. "Oh no." "What?" Ryan asked, eyes sharp now. She ran to the console, checked the ship logs. "Shaxa." She activated the neural flood protocol. Translation? "She's going to overload your brain with pain. Not tests, not scans, just raw, endless suffering. No breaks, no escape." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Sounds like my first marriage." But Varel was pale. "It'll bypass your nerves, straight into your cortex. Even humans don't survive that." He stared at the panel, unblinking. "Let her try." Suddenly, his knees buckled. Varel screamed. "It started!" Ryan hit the ground, hard, jaw clenched, body shaking. She ran to him. "Stop! He'll die!" she shouted into the console. Shaxa's voice echoed back. Cold, cruel. "If he can't feel pain, then let's see how much nothing he can handle." Varel dropped to her knees beside Ryan. "Ryan, look at me!" His eyes fluttered, veins in his forehead pulsing, every muscle locked. But then, he grabbed her wrist, tight, still strong. His voice was a whisper. "She's waiting, atching. Don't let her see me break." Varel looked up at the camera, furious. "You wanted to study pain?" she screamed. "Then watch what it looks like when you're the villain." And with one quick move, she ripped the implant from her own neck and slammed it into Ryan's. The pulse hit him instantly. A shockwave of energy, and his eyes snapped wide open. The energy pulse shot through Ryan's body like fire and thunder combined. His back arched, eyes glowing white, then fading into sharp, focused blue. The pain? Gone. Replaced by something else. Something new. Varel stumbled back, staring at him. You absorbed the neural feedback." Ryan stood up, slowly. Strong. Unstoppable. The floor under his boots cracked with every step. He turned his neck left, then right. Each crack sounded like thunder. He looked at Varel. "That little implant of yours tastes like victory." She blinked, still catching her breath. You should be unconscious." He smirked. "I'm full of surprises, sweetheart." Then leaned in. "And so are you." From the walls, another alarm began howling. This one was different. Urgent. Desperate. Shaxa had seen the impossible. The human hadn't just survived. He'd adapted. Evolved. The ship's AI tried to lock down the escape bay. Doors hissed. Steel bars dropped. Emergency codes activated. Ryan didn't care. He marched straight to the exit panel, punched it once, and the metal shattered. Varel just stared, her voice barely a whisper. "Gods, what are you?" Ryan turned, that half smile curling again. "Just a man who's had enough foreplay." He grabbed one of the plasma rifles from the crate, then looked at her. "You coming?" Varel hesitated, just long enough for his eyes to run over her again. That override suit's barely holding on, he teased. You sure it's combat ready? Or just ready? She smirked. I'm good at multitasking. The door burst open. More Zernak guards this time, not droids. Real muscle, tall, armed, snarling. The leader stepped forward. Commander Wolfe, surrender. Now. Ryan raised his gun, but paused. Then, without turning, he said to Varel, "Want to show me your multitask skills, gorgeous?" She cracked her neck. Her fingers lit up with glowing plasma claws. "Oh, baby, I'll show you everything." They struck together. Ryan dropped the first alien with a shot between the eyes. Varel flipped, claws slashing through two more. One tried to grab her from behind. Ryan fired mid-spin, blasting him off her back. She turned, panting, flushed. "You covering my back now?" He winked. "Only because it's my favorite view." The last three guards hesitated. One tried to run. Ryan aimed. Varel whispered, "Let him go." Ryan lowered the rifle. "Fine. Let him tell them what's coming." Silence returned. Bodies on the floor, smoke in the air. Then Ryan walked to the control panel and pressed the emergency override again. Shax's voice returned. Calm. Too calm. "I underestimated you," Ryan laughed. "You undressed me first. Underestimated me second." She exhaled over the comm. "I'll see you in the central core. If you make it." He grinned. "Oh, we're coming." Then glanced at Varel. Hard and fast. She raised an eyebrow. "You always talk like this?" He leaned close. "Only when I'm very interested." She blushed again, then whispered, "I'm starting to hate how much I like it." They stepped into the elevator together. Doors closed. Destination, core control room, where Shaxa waited, where the truth was buried, where the real experiment was hidden, and maybe something even more dangerous than pain, pleasure. The elevator rose in silence, but inside, the heat was anything but quiet. Ryan stood with one hand resting on the rifle, and the other dangerously close to Varel's waist. She didn't stop him, didn't step away. She just stared straight ahead, pulse racing. "You good?" he asked. She nodded, then whispered, "Why does your calm make me nervous?" He grinned. "'Cause deep down, you know what I'm gonna do to your boss." The doors opened. The core control room. Massive. Dark. One central platform, glowing red. And standing in the center was her, Dr. Shaxa. Tall, sharp, beautiful like a frozen weapon. Her arms crossed, her eyes locked on Ryan. "You survived," she said flatly. "I should have known pain wouldn't stop a creature like you." Ryan stepped forward. "You didn't fail the experiment, Doc. You were the experiment." She raised one brow. "Oh? And what did you learn?" He smirked. "That I look great half-naked, and you suck at foreplay." Varel stifled a laugh. Shaxa narrowed her eyes. "This isn't over." "Oh, it is," Ryan said. "Because now, we flip the script." He raised his wristband. A green light blinked. Then, the ship powered down. Lights dimmed, weapons disabled, security systems fried. Varel gasped. That was a full override. Shaxa's eyes widened. "You planned this?" Ryan walked closer. Step by step. Unstoppable. Undeniable. "I let you run your tests? Poke, prod, tease?" He reached her, face to face. "But you forgot one thing, Doc. Humans adapt. And some of us adapt dirty." She stared into his eyes. No fear now, just heat. "You think you've won?" she asked. "I know I have," he whispered. "Now the only question is..." He glanced at Varel. "Which of you ladies wants to press start on the next experiment?" Varel blinked. Shaxa tilted her head. The tension between the three of them? Nuclear. Ryan stepped back, raised his hands. "Or hey, we can test all three pain thresholds together. You know, for science." The room pulsed red. Systems started rebooting. His team on Earth would arrive soon. The galaxy would never be the same. But in this moment, Nothing mattered except the three of them, and the sparks flying in every direction. Then, Shaxa smirked. One small, dangerous smile, and she reached up, unzipped the top of her uniform. Just an inch. Just enough. Fine, she whispered. Let's see if humans break the rules, or if the rules break for them. Ryan's jaw tightened, eyes locked. Well, he said, this just turned into my favorite experiment.